Stepping out of your comfort zone is almost needed to get anything done. When I was 15 years old, I would do personal training with my 10-year-old brother 2 times a week on Mondays and Wednesdays. And he was way too young and a little bit too weak to be using the weights that I was using. And of course, my parents did not want him to be using the heavy weights. So we trained boxing. Basically, we trained bare fist fighting against this guy called Bob. When my brother Ben got a little bit tired, he would do this weird thing when he would start huffing and puffing and like hyperventilating, just all around start panicking. And this was a major problem that we had. He would be getting into his training session, and then all of a sudden he would, I don't know, maybe he would punch his fist and his wrist goes a little bit funny, it hurts a little bit, and then he starts panicking or something. And it wasn't until we found this breakthrough that this ceased to be a problem. I remember the day we had this breakthrough, I was doing this thing where I was standing behind Bob. I remember my brother really enjoyed when I did this. You know, if you imagine he's fighting the Bob XL, I'll need to put a picture of him, but it's basically a punching bag, but it's shaped as a human. I would just stand behind it, put my arms where Bob's arms would be, and just like randomly punch so that Ben could dodge. And one time, when we figured out how he could get through this panicking process, I said something like, just train harder or just keep going or something. And he said, how? And the only answer I could have to that is just train harder. How do you train harder? You just train harder. You just do it. How do you keep going? You just keep going. You just do it. And it sounded super annoying to my little brother because, of course, that's not really a good answer. I'm not going to pretend like it's a good answer. It's just the only answer that really makes sense. But that's when I also realized that it's something that he needs to figure out in his own head. It's not something, or hard work isn't something that someone could tell you. It's something you need to figure out for yourself. And what he needed to figure out in his head is it's all his tiredness, it was all in his head, basically. It's, if he just does it, if he just keeps going, he'll keep going. Then he'll realize it's achievable. He'll realize that he can do it, which is the point we got to. And then he'll replicate it. And then he'll realize he could keep training even further than what his body tells him he could do. Or what his mind tells him he could do, more specifically. And then after we're able to replicate that hard training level, then we make it even harder. I just hit my mic, but then we make it even harder. That's how you train harder. You just do it, basically, and then you get better over time. So I guess the main breakthrough to doing anything is just doing it. But that's difficult to hear, and it's difficult for me to say too, because I prefer logical answers, and that's not very logical answer. That's just kind of through experience. But if you need a way to kind of condition yourself to just doing it, because that is very difficult, and you probably feel like you can't just do it, whatever it is, whatever comes to your mind when I say do it, you can start doing things a bit out of the ordinary. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I myself am perfect at this, but something I think, I'm not exactly sure who said this, but I probably saw this on a YouTube short or something like a couple of years ago, but it's doing something out of the ordinary, or at least one or two things out of the ordinary every day. So I think the one that I was thinking about, or when I first heard of this, is it was like high-fiving someone and like complimenting their shoes or something like that. Is just something where you're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're just talking to random people, for example. But that could be anything as small as go for a run this morning, or tomorrow morning. Schedule out 30 minutes or 15 minutes to do a run. And then just, you could feel tired before that, but just doing it will make you feel so much better while you're doing it, after you're doing it, everything. So I guess if I have, or main takeaway from this video would be just doing it, or whatever it is. And if it is too hard at the moment, start with small things that could be completely unrelated. Just do something different, smile to someone, make funny jokes on your next Zoom call, whatever it is, on a sales call. Yeah, that's about it. Subscribe. I don't really know how to outros, but peace.